It happens in a quiet room. You are alone. You know you are alone. Every rational part of your brain has confirmed it. And yet, something shifts. A pressure behind your eyes, a crawling sensation at the back of your neck. The absolute bone-deep certainty that something is watching you. You turn around, nothing is there. And the strangest part? That feeling does not go away just because you looked. This is not a glitch. This is not anxiety. This is one of the oldest, most precisely engineered systems in the human body firing exactly the way it was designed to fire. And once you understand what it actually is, you will never feel that sensation the same way again. Your brain runs two parallel systems at all times. The first is the one you are familiar with. Slow, deliberate, rational. It weighs evidence. It draws conclusions. It is the part of your mind that just told you the room was empty. The second system is older, faster. It does not wait for evidence. It does not reason. It simply reacts. And it was built not for the world you live in now, but for a world where being wrong in the other direction, assuming safety when there was danger, could end your entire genetic line. Neuroscientist David Eagleman describes this as the brain's predictive machinery running constantly in the background, modeling the world before conscious thought even begins. Your brain does not wait for your eyes to confirm a threat. It preloads a threat response the moment any signal, however faint, suggests that a threat could exist. A sound you cannot quite place, a shadow at the wrong angle, a change in air pressure so subtle you cannot name it. The brain does not need you to consciously notice any of these things. It notices them for you, and it starts preparing your body before the rest of you has any idea why. That is the sensation at the back of your neck. It has a name. Researchers call it hypervigilant threat detection, and it is not a malfunction. It is, from an evolutionary standpoint, a masterpiece. Think about what your ancestors faced for the overwhelming majority of human history. Not cars, not deadlines, not the hum of a fluorescent light at 2 in the morning. They faced predators. Specifically, they faced predators that were extraordinarily good at not being seen. Leopards that waited motionless in trees for hours. Wolves that tracked from downwind. Snakes coiled in grass so still they looked like part of the earth itself. These were not dumb threats. These were millions of years of coevolution. Predators that had learned, one unsuccessful hunt at a time, how to be invisible, and so your ancestors evolved a counter strategy. If a predator is good at hiding, you cannot wait to see it. By the time you see it, you are already dead. So your brain evolved to detect the idea of a predator, the shape of a threat that has not yet revealed itself, the negative space where something dangerous could be. Psychologist David Geary calls this the ghost detection module, a neural system dedicated not to finding predators, but to finding the places predators might be hiding: shadows, stillness, silence in a forest that should not be silent, the feeling that the space behind you has changed. Your ancestors who had this system in its sharpest form survived more often. They passed it on. And here you are, sitting in a quiet apartment, heart rate climbing, because a part of your brain that is roughly 200,000 years old has decided the darkness in the hallway looks wrong, but it goes deeper than predators. Anthropologist Pascal has spent decades studying why humans across every culture, separated by oceans, by centuries, by every possible difference in language and belief and technology, all independently arrived at the same idea that the world is full of invisible, watching presences, spirits, ancestors, gods, forces that observe without being seen. Boyer argues this is not coincidence, and it is not religion, not at its root. It is the same threat detection system doing what it was built to do. Your brain generates agents. It is, by design, an agent detection machine. When something moves, your brain's first instinct is to ask, who moved it? When something shifts, the brain wants to know who is there. This is called hyperactive agency detection, the tendency to perceive intention and presence behind events even when no intentional agent exists. This was adaptive. In a world full of predators that moved, hearing a bush rustle and asking who is there rather than what was there kept you alive. The cost of a false positive was embarrassment. The cost of a false negative was death. So your brain tuned itself toward the positive, relentlessly, across tens of thousands of generations. It became so good at detecting agency that it began detecting it everywhere. In the wind, in the fire, in the shapes of clouds, in the silence of a room, and in the dark. Researcher Nili Levy at University College London has studied how attention works at the edge of perception, how the brain processes stimuli that are too faint to reach conscious awareness. Her work reveals something unsettling. Your brain is not just processing what you can see, it is processing the entire visual scene, including the parts you are not looking at, and flagging anomalies before you have any conscious experience of detecting them. Something in your peripheral vision shifts. Your conscious mind does not register it, but your threat system does, and it sends the signal. Something is here. You feel watched before you can explain why. There is also something called the sensed presence phenomenon. It has been documented in mountaineers who summit alone, in long-distance sailors, in people in isolation environments, in patients with certain neurological conditions. The overwhelming, undeniable sense that another being is present, usually just behind you, or slightly to your side, when no such being exists. Neuroscientist Olaf Blanke has studied this directly, using a robotic device that created a slight delay between a subject's own body movement and a physical touch on their back. He was able to reliably induce the sensed presence in healthy people. The brain, when it receives sensory information that conflicts slightly with its predictions about its own body, resolves the conflict by generating a phantom other, a presence, a watcher. Blanke's work suggests that the sensed presence is not a product of fear or imagination. It is the brain's solution to a mapping error. When the self-model and the sensory input do not quite align, the brain fills the gap with an agent. Because in the ancestral world, a gap in the sensory map most often meant something was there that you had not yet seen. So when you feel watched, here is what is actually happening. Your threat detection system has received a signal below the level of conscious perception, a sound, a light change, a vibration, a break in the expected pattern of the environment. It has flagged this as potential danger. It has activated your body, raised your cortisol, sharpened your senses, tightened the muscles at the back of your neck. Simultaneously, your agent detection system has generated its default answer to an unexplained disturbance. Something with intention is here, and your brain, ancient and exact, has handed you the only verdict it knows how to give. You are being watched. The sensation is not telling you there is something in the room. It is telling you there might be. And for your ancestors, in the world they actually lived in, that distinction did not matter. Might be was enough. Might be meant move. Here is the part that should change the way you think about this forever. The same system that makes you feel watched in a quiet room also makes you feel watched when you lie, when you cheat, when you do something in secret that you would not do in public. Research by Ara Norenzayan at the University of British Columbia shows that even the subtle suggestion of being observed, a pair of drawn eyes on a wall, a reflective surface, a photograph of a face, changes human behavior. People become more honest, more cooperative, more cautious. Not because they rationally believe someone is watching, but because the presence detection system activates on the suggestion of a gaze, and the body responds as if the gaze is real. Your ancestors evolved in small groups where reputation was survival. Being caught behaving badly could mean exile, and exile in the ancient world was a death sentence. So the same system that listened for predators also listened for witnesses. It became tuned to the sensation of being observed, and it learned to generate that sensation as a warning, not just from outside, but from within. The feeling that something is watching you when you are alone in the dark is the same mechanism that gives you the discomfort of a guilty conscience. The same system that kept your ancestors alive in a forest full of leopards is the one that makes you feel, even now in a room with no one in it, that something knows what you are doing. Tonight, when the lights go low and the quiet settles in, and that old familiar pressure builds at the back of your neck, you will know what it is. It is 200,000 years of survival staring back at you through your own nervous system, and it is working exactly as intended.